One of the major reasons why the file debacle is
a debacle
happening as this giant distraction from what Trump is actually doing, in my opinion, is because the country is on fire. All right, now you are not ready for what you were about to see. More ICE raids, more deportations, which is a great W. You got idiots freaking out on the entire left because Trump is trying to pass a bill called the Save America Act. We are trying to save America. And it turns out, and this is gonna freak you out when you see the polls, you are not ready for the debacle we are about to witness. We are straight up gonna be watching leftists, in my opinion, committing treason, straight up saying, no, actually, we want to steal the country.
Take a look here. Favorite photo ID to vote. 85% of white people favor it.
Oh! Trump is trying to push something with an 85% approval rating. 85% approval. Oh my God.
82% of Latino, 76% of black Americans favor it. So the bottom line is this. Voter ID is not controversial in this country. A photo ID to vote is not controversial in this country.
Because your average leftist thinks he still likes democracy. Right? He doesn't realize that he's part of the anti-democracy, anti-God party. He thinks that he's in some sort of democratic situation. He thinks that actually the left is playing by the rules when quite literally they're not. This video will radicalize you because you have to understand exactly what's going on in this country. We have the left importing illegals and making sure they could vote. They're going to say that illegals don't vote, but they are going to prove that they are specifically not letting voter ID be a thing so that people won't ask for your ID. So if you're illegal, you could vote. They are straight up trying to steal elections with mass immigration. And it is so obvious because literally no one likes this and they're still pushing it. Every Democrat is fighting this. Why? Makes you think.
It is not controversial by party, and it is not controversial by race. The vast majority of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj that, in fact, you should have a photo ID to be able to vote. So
that's right. We're going to be looking at Nicki Minaj, too. Every celebrity in Hollywood is crying about how, no, what do you mean? ID? Asking for ID is racist. Bro, they think so little of black people that they think it's racist to have ID. See, I am not racist, and therefore I think that black people are just as capable of having ID as anybody else. What are we doing in society? So anyway, we have a really, really good deep dive for this video. I planned it out. I did all the research. You are not ready. Lock in, subscribe. First, I have to show you how badly the left is losing. The left is losing on a level that we are quite not ever expecting. Now, I thought the left was in a bad spot when Trump actually won the last election because Biden was terrible. The left straight up is suiciding at rapid paces. All right, so this is a trans person harassing a black ICE agent.
Yeah, families should be ripped apart. That's kind of our energy. Like we should rip people apart from their families.
Are you a man?
So he immediately responds, "Are you a man?" Absolute cinema. It's beautiful. Based mad lad over here. Beautiful. Get ready for the response.
Wow. Wow, is that a question?
Wow.
Okay.
See, this should not offend anybody, right?
How do you feel about ripping people from their families?
Right? Are you a man?
Does that feel good?
Fucking house nigga. Sir, I need to move. Fucking house nigga. Where's your fucking take?
They called him a house N-word. Hard R. Now, for those of you that are unaware, that is a double slur, because that's just not the N-word. A house N-word is specifically a slur used for black slaves that were cozying up to the white slavers, all right? That is unbelievable. We have transgender leftists yelling house N-word at black people in the streets. These people racist as hell, dude. These people racist, and this dude giving him the side eye of his life. The left can never survive this, because it turns out the thing that I've been saying the entire time is the fact that the left has always been more racist than the right, and it's not even close.
Okay. What the fuck's wrong with you people? Why are you calling a woman a man?
Because he has a penis.
I mean, what kind of a guy does that?
He's fucking house nigga, bitch.
Wow, dude. Base! Base! This might be one of the craziest videos ever.
A warning for what, sir? A warning for what?
Warning to quit following our vehicle.
Because?
Because we're conducting law enforcement operations.
Yes, and we're allowed to film you doing those law enforcement operations. We still have a First Amendment, sir. We are not impeding your operations. We're merely filming them.
Now you are interfering with our operations, so do not continue to follow.
We're pressed. We're pressed. We can follow you and film you.
We're pressed. We have a right to.
Are you trying to get rid of the First Amendment?
I love these people. They're all so retarded. The First Amendment, they believe in the First Amendment so much. We got leftoids slinging slurs on the down low. And this is quite literally possibly one of the greatest leftist downfalls of all time. Agent, are you a man? Starts crying. Are you working for the KKK? Middle finger. Calls him a house N-word. Unbelievable levels of downfalls that we are witnessing right now. So that's the left. That's the modern left. The modern left are racist pieces of shit that hate our country and our traitors and constantly trying to insurrect against the government. And they, justice will turn to come around. It'll happen. You'll see. And in fact, they are so racist. All right, here's another instance of leftists being racist. Yesterday. That's right. Everything I'm showing you literally just happened yesterday. All right. This is a random Mexican guy. Random Mexican guy, and a leftist slapped his coffee out of his hand because she thought he was an ICE agent.
Fucking bitch! Fuck you! Fuck you!
This is unbelievable. They just slapped his coffee out of his hand, random Mexican guy, because they thought he was ICE. Oh my god, and they claim that they're fighting for their brothers and neighbors? Dude, this is incredible. It really is. Like, these people are actually fucking unhinged. It's unbelievable. Now, one of the biggest twists of yesterday was the fact that these stories are getting so wild, you're not even going to believe them, and that's why you have to be subscribed to Nuxanor, because only I cover this shit to the level it needs to be covered, all right? You have to understand they're trying to kill us, they hate our country, and they're evil people, all right? ICE confirmed to Fox News they arrested a New Orleans police recruit who's an illegal alien from Cameroon with an active deportation order. No work authorization. They say he was illegally given a gun by the New Orleans Police Department. Okay? Do we understand? Do we understand what we're doing here, bro? This is an illegal alien police officer given a weapon with an active deportation order. They fucking hate us, man. They hate us and they want us dead. And they love criminals. They just love criminals. It's unbelievable. So Tim Walz is having a bit of a meltdown that no one actually is stopping the ICE raids.
It's been a week since I met with Tom Homan. Expectations have not changed. This force must leave Minnesota. The state of Minnesota and the professionals, nonpartisan judiciary must do the investigations into the shootings and other abuses of Minnesota's human rights. And this all-out assault on Minnesota across all of state government and all across life must stop. None of.
And what are you gonna do about it? And what are you gonna do about it? So what are you doing about this?
This is normal. None of this is okay. None of this makes Minnesota any safer. None of this adheres to the values
This
of
guy's gonna be in jail.
This country. All it does is cause terror and trauma.
Oh well, wah, 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 as they say. Anywho, other leftists are also losing their mind. All right, here we have the head of the Minnesota Teachers Union proudly insurrecting against the government.
With Al Jazeera, the head of a Minneapolis teachers union, well, she proudly admits that elected officials are in signal chats. They're being used to share information about where these federal agents are. Listen.
Guys, look at these straight white males insurrecting against the government.
The notion that people that are actively engaged in ICE watch, in being vigilant in protecting our neighbors, in signal chat.
This is, by the way, an insurrection against the government. I'm really tired of people trying their best to call it protecting our neighbors and shit like that. The language doesn't change anything. All right, Donald Trump was elected on the mandate to deport every single illegal alien. Every single illegal alien has to go. If you're trying to stop them, you are insurrecting. You are obstructing justice. You are insurrecting against the government. You are anti-American. You are protecting pedophiles and rapists. And quite literally, you should be in jail for 10 years. I see a lot of people saying, Nux, you're being too harsh about it. It's going to radicalize people. They could be radicalized. I don't care. I don't care. Quite literally, bring out the catapults, all right? Start strapping illegals to catapults with little parachutes, okay? Launch them out of our border and let them land somewhere, okay? Quite literally, I don't give a fuck. We elected Trump to deport these people. You have to live with that, because that's what it is to live in a constitutional republic. If you don't like it, you should go to jail for being a traitor to the United States. All right? I am so tired. I am so tired of making believe this is an acceptable position. It is not acceptable. It is illegal.
Groups running plates in their cars, doing patrols, that somehow we're ashamed of that activity.
They should all be in jail. They need to be in jail.
Somehow you could call our bosses or show our faces, and then we would be shunned by our community.
I don't care about your community. Jail. This is an insurrection against the government. I am tired of people tiptoeing around, and people are going to say, but what if there's more people like Renee Good that commit suicide by cop? Well, then their deaths will be for fucking nothing. That's right. That's my stance. Do I want them to die? No, I want them in jail. If they do die, well, I guess that's what we call playing stupid games and winning really stupid prizes. I don't care. I don't care. You and your community can be deported together. Rip bozos.
Our bosses are in the Signal chats with us.
And by the way, I think this needs to be the messaging from the right wing in general. And I'm so tired of seeing people like, even like right wing voices and influencers being like, no, it's sowing chaos and shit. Sowing chaos? What are we talking about? These people are openly talking about obstructing justice. Jail. Immediately.
Our elected officials are in the chats with us.
Yeah, crazy.
And I have reached
so that we have elected officials, straight up elected officials, insurrecting against the government.
Out to the mayor and governor's office to get their reaction to that, Dana.
Yeah, so again, these people need to go to jail. I'm so tired of the fact that people are talking about this in a way that it's normal and that it's legal protesting. It quite literally is not. It is traitorous, treasonous, insurrectionist, and they need to go to jail forever. Or at least 10 years. And then they become felons and lose their rights to vote. See, this is my entire strategy. But Nux, what you don't care. But it's fascist. You could call it whatever you want, Margaret. All right, Piggy? You could call it whatever you want. Jail, insurrection. And this is the stance that every normal person has. All right? Dude, this is a moderate position. This is the most moderate position of all time. If you insurrect against the government, you go to jail. I mean, isn't that what Biden was doing to grandmas at January 6th? Here you have people straight up running over ICE officers. Straight to jail. All right, you reap the wind. You sow the wind, you reap the whirlwind, as Hosea the prophet said. All right, it needs to happen. Tim Walz is crashing out constantly. Minnesota needs to know the number of children in federal detention, who they are, where they're being held. No, Minnesota doesn't need to know fucking anything. It is federal detention. It is not your problem, and it is not your business. Quite literally, no. And also, you don't care, all right? You realize you ran a ticket with this lady, right? Biden-Harris admin loses track of 320,000 migrant children with untold number of risk of sex trafficking and forced labor. This was you. You ran to be the vice president of Kamala Harris, the one who oopsie-poopsie lost 320,000 migrant kids. Isn't that amazing? Thank God, apparently 145,000 of them were found under the Trump administration, a story that literally got zero media attention, but that's where we're at, quite literally. Now, the fraud investigations are everywhere. So this is the DEI mayor of Baltimore. Nux, it's racist for you to say he's DEI. Well, there's no other reason they would elect a complete retard, right? So anyway, that's what we're going to be calling him.
But with that, his vehicle is still $55,000 less than yours. So
right, they're asking him about how is it possible? This is so weird. All right, he's getting blasted for crying racist, and when a reporter asks him why he bought a new $165,000 SUV with tax dollars, all right, he bought an $165,000 car with your tax money, and they're asking him about it.
Again, I want to ask you the same question.
Okay, Tessa, we'll just stop you right there. We get it. We understand that your station has this severe right-wing effort underway. We get that. But you also...
It's a right-wing effort to ask him why he's spending our tax monies on fancy cars.
So you guys are dragging this thing out and also not including all the facts. A vehicle that was purchased in 2023 is not the same price as 2025, right? You have to understand.
The dollar is also not the same. The dollar is worth less now too. What are we talking about?
And that reality. When you look at, I'm talking, you can listen to, let me talk, please. We heard your question. You've asked the same idiotic.
We literally have swindlers in every single blue city in the country. Every blue city, every blue state is all low IQ swindlers that get away with everything because the judges are woke.
That question now for 3 months. We understand that when you look at a base price for SUVs, base price of SUVs now are, as you know, between $90,000 and $100,000. You're talking about a police vehicle with police equipment on it added on top of that vehicle. It's very simple.
No, we're not.
And when
we're
you
not.
look at
it's his personal
these are
one,
not
I think.
Astronomical costs, right? You guys and your station in particular would never ask the president of the United States how much the beast costs. You wouldn't do that. You would never.
Because he buys it himself. It's not with the tax dollars. Like, bro, dude, he literally built a whole ass wing of the White House with his own personal money. Okay? What are we talking about?
Do that. This is ridiculous.
Drive a bicycle, sir. Don't care. All right? You're a racist slant, bro.
To go.
Oh, it gets worse.
Next question.
For Governor Moore as well, his car costs about $78,000 to $80,000, and he drives across the state. Governor Hogan's car costs $70,000 now. Again, that was bought when he was state.
That's a long time ago. And I also would, well, you looked at, I understand that. I did answer the question. Just because you didn't get the answer that you wanted in your racist slant, there's one thing.
The racist slant of asking you why you're stealing shit. Are you implying that stealing shit has something to do with your race, sir? I wouldn't ever have said something like that, but is that what you're implying? Interesting. Getting hot in here, Justice Ty. Yeah, so this is the crazy shit we have to deal with, bro. This is insane. No one brought up race. Literally, no one gives a shit. Like, it's unbelievable that this is happening across our country. Zoran Mamdani, he's also proving that the blue mayors are truly diabolical. All right, so this is, recently in New York, there was a cop that was stabbed by a terrorist. All right, a terrorist stabbed a cop multiple times. Thank God he survived. And he shot the terrorist that stabbed the cop. Zoran Mamdani went to visit the cop. Kidding. He went to visit the terrorist.
And as you said, I spoke with the Chakraborty family and I visited Chavez in the hospital. And there is no family should have to endure this kind of pain.
The pain of getting shot from a cop after you stab him? What?
Baba, no! Hey, put the knife down! Put the knife down!
All right, I feel like I can't show you the full footage, but this dude stabs him. He stabs him with a knife and he shoots him in self-defense. And this dude went to visit the terrorist that stabbed the guy with the knife in the hospital. No one should feel the pain of the family. My guy, what is going on? This is worse than being Jeffrey Epstein's son. I'll be real. This is the worst thing I've ever seen. This is diabolical. I can't show you the full footage on YouTube, obviously, but this is what we're dealing with across the country. Now, the right has a very different stance on law enforcement. For example, Tom Homan is very cleanly explaining how we have to get rid of the illegals because they're stealing elections. And I am going to talk more about the SAVE Act in a minute.
Sworn duties to enforce immigration law that Congress passed is unacceptable. And it's shameful and incomprehensible to me that this unlawful and threatening behavior is being tolerated by anyone. As far as what I saw yesterday with the roadblocks being set up, you're not going to stop ICE.
You're not going to stop us. You could try.
You're not going to stop Border Patrol.
It's not happening. That's why we call them the wall.
The only thing you're doing is irritating your community and want to go get groceries or pick the children up or whatever.
True.
I talked to the chief of police, and he committed to taking swift action on those illegal roadblocks. They're illegal. We shouldn't tolerate them.
Agreed. These people need to go to jail.
Again, a complete drawdown is going to depend on the cooperation, continued cooperation of local and state law enforcement and the decrease of the violence, the rhetoric, and the attacks against ICE and Border Patrol. The federal law enforcement personnel, ICE and CBP and other partner agencies are patriots.
That's right.
And they've carried out their duties.
That's right. And he's bringing 700 more troops. So yeah, no, this is not doing well for them at all, actually. I know this is probably a twist, but this is really not going well for them, literally at all. Is New York safer now under Mamdani? Like, why do people ask me this question? You know the answer. You just want me to pop off. You literally just want me to pop off, right? Anti-Jewish hate crimes in New York increased 182% during Mamdani's first month in office. Probably a coincidence. Probably a coincidence, guys. Probably a coincidence. Anyway, so we got to talk a little bit about this because this is also part of it. All right? This is also part of it. Now, this is insane. So I talked briefly about this in the past, but I need to bring this up again because Nicki Minaj tied this into the fact that the Democrat elite is trying to bring in illegals and refuse to make them show ID. This is all part of the same story.
No one is illegal on stolen land.
Right? So she gave her whole speech. No one is illegal on stolen land, she says, which is incredible and bullshit. Why am I paying property taxes, bro, if I'm not illegal on stolen land, you know? That's what I want to know. But anyway, she's so brave. She says smugly as no one's illegal on stolen land. Now, obviously, she lives in a mansion herself, which is pretty hilarious. But the funniest thing, actually, and the reason why I bring this up, I covered this in a previous video if you want to watch it. So this is her house, all right? This is her stolen land. And this might be the funniest twist of all time. The Tongva tribe statement to Fox News. I love reality. As the first people of the greater Los Angeles basin, we do understand her home is situated in our ancestral land. Eilish has not contacted our tribe directly regarding her property. This is what we call absolute cinema, ladies and gentlemen. You virtue signal your fucking way out of this one, you piece of shit. The based Tongva tribe has arrived. See, I've always been a Tongva tribe supporter since day one. This is truly incredible. So there she is on her gated mansion, fighting for illegal alien rapists to show up in our country against deportation. Again, this is someone that's the most straight up privileged bitch on the planet. The most privileged retard of all time. All right? So she's there in a mansion, gated off in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of California, in the middle of nowhere, all right, on the ancestral Tongva land, okay, all right, or whatever the fuck, or whoever it was before the Tongva, because quite literally all land is conquered from somebody. And this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with woke retards pushing agendas that do not affect them at all. Because their agendas are absolutely diabolical. She will never need to know what it's like to have a family member raped and murdered by an illegal alien. She will never have to know what it's like to live next door to some illegal alien drug dealer. She will never have to know what it's like to be a regular person in America. All right? So for her to say no one's illegal on stolen land is so nice and brave and strong. And shout out to the Tongva tribe for being based as fuck about this. Now, the Tongva tribe was based. CNN, however, was not. This is CNN people crying that the NPCs don't follow the instructions of the libtard celebrities anymore.
And particularly January seems to have crossed a line. Do you feel like that's what's happened?
I do. I also get a little tired of Hollywood jackasses coming out and telling us what to think. And
that's a bit.
Billie Eilish telling me that that it's stolen land. I'd love to see her turn her keys back to her multi-million-dollar mansion to whomever is going to come over.
But if you don't like it, don't listen.
Don't listen.
If you don't like it, don't listen. No, we have to support our celebrities because they're the ones that tell the people what to think.
Of course.
We're sitting here listening to all this and these sorts of people. Nobody cares what Hollywood
sorts of people are
Nobody cares what they think.
What sorts of people are they? Privileged bitches who read the words written by smarter people for a living. Yes, those sorts of people. Their opinions mean nothing.
I really like Jennifer Lawrence.
They're all pearl clutching.
Talking about, finally, she said, I'm not going to speak politically because nobody listens to us. And I think she's 100% right.
That is not true. Many people do care what celebrity.
I am a woman. Don't you dare talk.
Care at your parties. They don't care anyplace else.
I'm talking here. I'm higher on the totem pole than you. I'm higher on the totem pole. This is how it works. You're a white man. You're on the bottom. Then there's Jews. Then there's white women. Then there's black women. Then there's LGBTQ people who are more likely to commit suicide. Then there's transsexual midgets at the very top of the totem pole. I am higher than you, and therefore, up, you must be silent.
Christine, you did interrupt him, so
that is fair enough.
Let's
But
try not to do that
said,
in general, so we can all be heard. Go ahead.
Many people do care what celebrities say. If they didn't care what celebrities said, why would both Republicans and Democrats often try to get celebrity endorsements? Bad Bunny is
because retards are retarded. Because we recognize that the majority of America are retards. And here's the funniest part. All the celebrities, all of them, by the way, every single celebrity endorsed Kamala Harris. Do we have any form of like historical precedent on how did that work out though? Like historically, did it work out that all the Avengers, the Marvel Avengers actors came together to do a kumbaya Zoom call talking about celebrities? Did that work? So anyway, obviously things are not going super well for these retards. It's really not going well for them. They're trying to make believe people still care about celebrities. But there's one celebrity that went super viral talking about this specifically. Nicki Minaj tweeted, "What sensible, forward-thinking, cutting-edge, leading nation is having a debate on whether or not there should be voter ID? Like, they're actually fighting not to have people present ID while voting for your leaders. Do you get it? Do you get it now?" Oh my, 300,000 likes, 54 million views. This is diabolical. She's going against the NPC think tank, and people are losing their mind. Liberals, if only we could just jail Trump, get rid of MAGA, end the Electoral College, stack the Supreme Court, ban voter ID, and censor free speech, we could save democracy. Woo! Liberals! Let's go! So yeah, every single time, it's many such cases. It's pretty weird how that keeps happening. But yeah, so Nicki Minaj decided to tweet this, and she ended up beefing with all the celebrities in Hollywood. They're all slandering her. They're saying she's a sellout. That's why she's selling out, stuff like that. But her response to them was also amazing. Nicki Minaj tweets, "Your favorite artist has been practicing rituals in a satanic cult where they take babies from other countries and mutilate and kill them in a form of blood sacrifice to their gods. You see, when your master is Satan, you must constantly shed blood however the jig is up." Oh my god! Oh my god! Holy... And no response. So, to understand the context, she makes this tweet, everyone crashes out, they freak out, they call her out, they lose their mind. She makes this tweet, silence. Absolute silence. No one says anything. 20 million views, 260,000 likes, and no one says a word. No one says a word. She is exposing the inner circle of these retards. All right? So we have CNN being like, no, actually, the baby mutilate murderers that sacrifice, blood sacrifices to God. No, we should listen to them, actually. They have really good opinions. So yeah, everything is changing. So now, President Trump decided to get involved, talk about the SAVE Act, the requirement for ID. Now, you have to understand, all these leftist policies, they're all connected. And I think people don't realize that, and I don't think enough people are radicalized about this, which is why I try my best to radicalize as many people as I can. Nux, you're radicalizing people. Yeah. Fuck yes, I'm radicalizing people. Nux, you're gonna bring people to the alt-right pipeline. I am the alt-right pipeline. Let me explain something to you. They want infinite retards in the country to steal elections, all right? If they increase the amount of people in different sectors, they increase different seats based on population. Now, because of all these populations increases in different places, it increases their amount of seats in the Senate. Now that they have more seats in the Senate, they can stack votes on their side because the census includes illegal aliens that they are importing. In fact, the illegal aliens that they are importing also vote because while technically it's illegal for them to vote, they don't have to show ID when they vote. So every single one of these policies aligns directly to steal our country. Sorry, in the House, not the Senate. I meant the House. The Congress people, they get more people in their districts. So honestly, we are getting fucked. They're trying to steal democracy from under our feet, and by the fact that the left is voting against showing ID when you vote, it means that's what they're doing on purpose. They know they're doing it, and despite the fact that 85% of the American people want it to stop, they don't care. Oh my God.
We should have voter ID, by the way.
We should have voter ID, Mr. President.
Have a lot of the things that I think everybody wants to see.
Yeah.
Who would not want voter ID? Only somebody that wants to cheat. Think of it.
He's totally right. The only reason to not have voter ID is to steal elections.
Voter ID.
I'm sorry the audio's quiet. That's Twitter audio is sometimes trash.
And the Democrats don't want it. And the reason they don't want it is because they want to cheat.
The reason they don't want it is to cheat. Like, he's laying it out. And he's so completely right. And this, they'll never talk about this in the media. They just talk about Trump doing random shit. This is the story. Quite honestly, Epstein, I know that everyone says you're distracting from the Epstein files, stuff like that. Epstein's not the story. Epstein is not the story right now. The story is that the Democrats are trying to literally steal the country forever by importing infinite retards to forever give them infinite power. Quite literally, that is the story. The fact that Donald Trump is not implicated in the Epstein files as some sort of sex criminal is incredible. And until there is evidence of it, you need to shut the fuck up. All right? We need to actually focus on what's real. The Epstein files, I covered them immensely. They're super massive. There is a giant cabal of leftists running the Western world trying to push every sort of ideology on the planet. True, all straight. But by the fact that the media is hammering on that and making it sound like it's a Trump problem is insane. It's insane. He has been, so far, completely exonerated by the Epstein files. There is zero evidence of any wrongdoing done by President Trump, which we all like, and that's the craziest part. And it's the only thing the media talks about because they don't want to talk about the fact that they are running cover, straight up, they are running cover for stealing the country and raping as many innocent women as need to be raped with their illegal aliens that they're bringing in to do it. Understand the story here. There were more women raped by illegal aliens than by Jeffrey Epstein. Put that into perspective.
No reason in the world, and I love that debate, Lindsay. I love saying, well, why don't you want voter ID?
But why don't you?
You watch them say, I don't know, I just make them.
It's racist. Voter ID is racist. That's their new talking point.
I know, it's a terrible thing. So anyway.
Yeah, it's a pretty terrible thing, true. So anyway, he continued popping off. He might have been like, he was on a roll of a lifetime. All right, so this is Caitlin Collins. She is one of the chief White House reporters from CNN. She's a gigantic bitch. And Trump annihilates her.
What do you say?
What would you say to the survivors who feel like they haven't gotten justice?
You are the worst reporter. No wonder.
You are the worst reporter.
CNN has no ratings because of people like you. You know, she's a young woman. I don't think I've ever seen you smile. I've known you for 10 years. I don't think I've ever seen a smile on your face.
I have never seen you smile in 10 years. I see you every day. Every day I wake up and there she is. Bitch face and all. Never smiling. What's going on?
You know why?
And by the way, let me tell you an interesting statistic. Liberal women are miserable. That's the statistic. I hope you like this statistic. It was nice. It's because they're fat, usually. It's because they're fat and they don't get married and they abort their babies and all the empathy that they should be giving to their babies and all the love they should be receiving from their husband, they don't have it. And now they're miserable.
You know why you're not smiling? Because you know you're not telling the truth.
Oh! You're not smiling because you know you're lying.
You're a very dishonest organization, and they should be ashamed of you.
These are survivors.
What do you say?
And he just moves on to the next person. He literally excoriated her. Holy shit. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's crazy. And it doesn't stop. Like he was on a roll.
We had a great first term.
All right, whatever. The audio's too quiet. I can't keep doing this. But the point that I'm trying to make, he was hilarious. My second term is blowing my first term away. Lindsey Graham says, Reagan plus. Reagan plus. Yeah, well, whatever. Anyway, no, bro, dude, he has been cooking unbelievably. Now, Lindsey Graham is also talking about what the Democrats' actual strategy is.
Y'all are playing like Biden didn't exist. Y'all won't tell the American people about Lake and Riley.
True.
It's a one-sided debate. For 4 years, our border was obliterated. They let them come in by the tens of millions, and they want to go back that way. We're not going.
That's right. They straight up want that. Get radicalized, motherfuckers. It's bad. It's really bad. Now, that the polls came out, and it turns out 85% of the American people actually think, yeah, why don't we have voter ID? That's retarded. It's unbelievable watching everyone trying to figure out how they could push propaganda that voter ID is bad. Because they totally lost the debate.
I do think that the SAVE Act is a great idea.
This is on CNN, by the way. These are leftists.
83% of Americans support it, as I learned on CNN this morning, and that includes, 76% of Black Americans, 82% of Latinos, 85% of white Americans. So to me, that's the move. Push the SAVE Act and force Democrats to admit that they are against what 83% of Americans want. I think this is all kind of just a distraction, a bit of nonsense.
Yeah, true. Isn't that incredible? That's just incredible. Like, what are we doing? Even the left, some of the leftists, like the MAGA leftists, as we call them, they're losing their mind. They're losing their mind. It's crazy. And it's like, what do we do? What do we do? What are we literally doing? Now, this is John Thune. I think there's some Epstein dirt on him. All right? I think so. This is not an allegation. This is my opinion. Because this is suspicious as fuck. We have people... Just listen to the clip.
Let's listen here.
Filibuster to try to outlast the Democratic minority under current rules. Do you have any expectation that you can succeed with that, given the enormous difficulty of doing that? In fact, the previous majority has not been able to.
Right. Well, you know, I guess, and I would just remind people that the coin in the realm in the Senate is floor time. There's a finite amount of it, and we have a lot of things we have to do. There's a housing bill that's awaiting action, hopefully a market structure bill, possibly permitting reform, farm bill, highway bill. You can go right down the list. Russia sanctions.
Yeah, bro's sweating.
There are a whole bunch of things that could be teed up for action on the floor of the Senate.
We're so busy, guys. We don't need ID for votes because we're busy with other things.
And so you have to make some judgments, and the conference will have a conversation about that. I've committed to that we will talk about that idea and determine whether or not what the conference's views are about it and how they want to proceed. As I said, we will vote on the SAVE Act, but exercising or triggering a talking filibuster has ramifications, implications that I think everybody needs to be aware of.
We're too busy to vote for, I don't know, election integrity. We're too busy to vote for something that will stop the country from being stolen forever. What the fuck is happening? What is happening? 24 results in the Epstein files for this guy? Look, I don't know. I'm not accusing him of anything. But they gotta have something on this guy. This is the craziest thing in the world. 110 countries have voter ID required. All right? 110! And the United States doesn't. It's the most obvious corrupt shit in the world.
So we will have those discussions, but that's obviously ties the floor up for an indefinite amount of time.
We're just too busy. We're just too busy.
With not only unlimited debate, but also unlimited amendments.
Bro's sweating like Prince Andrew when he was asked about Epstein. Bro's sweating like Candace Owens when she's trying to read.
All right, rather we had the Senate Majority Leader and the Speaker of the House speaking at the same time. That's why we're jumping back.
Yeah, so this is the craziest shit in the world. Yeah, it's absolutely unbelievable that this is even happening. 85% of Americans want this to happen, and he's like, we're just too busy. It's not worth the hassle to get voter ID. Oh my God, what are we doing? What are we doing? Now, you have to understand what we're doing. So this is all part of a gigantic strategy, and I will radicalize you. Don't worry. He's sweating like a hoe in church. It's a good expression. I like that. I'll use that later. So Tim Walz actually passed a bill, before he was, accused of $18 billion of fraud. He passed a bill that was a little bit controversial.
It's done.
A packed room at the St. Paul Armory erupted after the governor's signature made driver's license for all the law of the land.
Driver's license for all. Okay, all right. Is there any election implications to something like that?
But if they walk in to vote with their driver's license, does that make them all of a sudden now okay?
Mr. Linnell.
Madam Chair, so the designation on the roster for someone whose registration had been incomplete, if they present the election judge with that acceptable identification document, that would clear the challenge from the roster and they would be permitted to cast a ballot.
So Walz passed a bill to let illegal aliens get driver's licenses, and they are accepting driver's licenses as requisite identification to vote in elections. Maybe that explains why the Somali vote is worth so much. Because they import so many illegal alien Somalis and they all vote for the left. That literally gives them the power to vote and free money. They all do fraud. The government turns a blind eye from the fraud, and they vote for the government that turns a blind eye for the fraud. It is so obvious that this is happening in our country. It's unbelievable. It's actually unbelievable. Now, Mr. Nadler, all right, this is the craziest shit in the world, okay? This was today also, yesterday rather. Watch the clip. Let me know what you think, because this is literally happening now.
We could easily solve our balanced budget problems by simply repealing the taxes, the tax cuts on millionaires and billionaires enacted over the last 10 years.
Millionaires and billionaires.
But what is really the major problem in this country today is the fascism in our streets.
That's the problem. Not the illegal aliens that flooded our country that we need to deport. Not the people that are stealing elections. Not the people that are quite literally doing their absolute best to insurrect against the government. It's the fascism. And therefore, what?
The attacks on American citizens.
There are no attacks on American citizens. There are American citizens that are attacking ICE agents that commit suicide by cop. That happens.
By masked hoodlums.
Masked hoodlums.
If you were attacked...
You know, the people that are the victims. They are the victims, bro. They are quite literally the victims. The reason why they're masked is because they're getting doxxed and their families are getting harassed by leftist terrorists.
By a masked person, you might think you were being kidnapped. You'd be justified in shooting the person.
If you are arrested by a masked hoodlum who you don't know who he is, you would be justified to kill him. Oh my God. It is shocking that this is happening. It's shocking that this is the government.
To protect yourself. But we see people being shot for what? For driving a car?
No, for running over an ICE agent.
We see people...
By the way, they're all pretty clearly labeled as ICE. All right, they have... It says ICE in pretty big fucking words on them. All right? This is the craziest shit in the world.
Well, we see these...
You might think that I'm against democracy because I look a little like the Penguin. That is true. I am actually against democracy. I am declaring war on the federal government, and there's nothing you can do about it. Because what are you gonna do? You're gonna arrest me? My buddy, Judge Schmeckeldorf is just gonna let me off. I know a woke Jew that knows a woke Jew. I'll never go to jail.
The ICE goons break into people's homes without a warrant. We see them drag out a man, an American citizen, in his underwear without even...
Yeah, I wonder why. Like, it's crazy how there's no context to any of this. The guy that they dragged out in the underwear was the brother of an illegal alien violent drug dealer, okay? And they thought it was him. So they brought him in, and they also did have a warrant. They brought him in, and then they found out that he was the brother instead of the guy, and they let him go. You know, like any law enforcement agency should be doing.
Permitting him in the snow without even permitting him to get dressed. This is the major problem we have today, along with the attack on our elections. We saw it last week.
The attack on our elections. We saw it last week is referring to the fact that Donald Trump figured out that there was election fraud in Georgia. All right? Now, to understand the context, Donald Trump discovered that factually there was, not allegedly, there factually was election fraud in Georgia. That is not an attack on election. These are the people fighting against voter ID because they want to steal the country forever. Trump proved without a shadow of a doubt that there was election fraud in Georgia and in Arizona. But this is the craziest thing of all time. So this is a Democrat straight up saying it's okay to shoot ICE agents because they wear a mask. J.D. Vance even retweeted this. Jerry Nadler is one of the highest ranking Democrats in the House of Representatives. He's openly calling for people to shoot federal law enforcement. This is despicable behavior from an elected official, and I'm sure the left-wing media will cover it extensively. Spoilers! They don't. This is the craziest shit I've ever seen. This is straight up insanity. Like, this is insurrection language. These people need to go to jail. These people need to go to jail. And the fact that Trump is not, arresting his political opponents enough or whatever, I don't give a shit. Like, we need to stomp this out because they'll win the next election if they keep filibustering everything. All right, they are going to win if they're not going to pass the voter ID shit, and they're not going to want to do this, and they're not going to want to do that, and they're going to win the next election if this happens, and they are going to steal the country because the next election they win might be the last election. And I mean that without hyperbole. All right, next election to win, border gets open up again, mass immigration is back. They decide to make buddies with all the globalists in the European Union, give infinite money away to NATO to continue funding both sides of the Russian war, all right? And this is the craziest shit of all time. So, in my opinion, this is scary as fuck. This is the scariest thing ever. They literally want to destroy America and conquer it. Now, I wanted to see some pro-immigration propaganda. All right, I want to see, because I'm very excited. Let's see some pro-illegal immigrant propaganda, because I'm afraid I'm going to radicalize you too much. You might watch this and be like, whoa, I really don't like that. I really don't like the fact that we have all these rapists in our country. And I'm like, listen, you might dislike rapists. Unlike the left is pro-rape, unless it's a white guy or whatever doing the rape. But they're pro-rapists for immigrants, for Hamas. They're pro all those guys. But I need to give you some positive pro-illegal alien propaganda.
And it's really fun having them. What I realized is there's so much prejudice against refugees, mostly because people don't know them.
Lisa says she feels like she has her own personal chef, as Waldande loves cooking.
Waldande loves cooking, ladies and gentlemen. White Democrat in Boston raising eyebrows after taking in a Haitian migrant and making her the personal chef in exchange for housing. That is what we call slavery. That is what we call slavery. The left just being the slave. They were always slavers. All right, Democrat Party never changed. Housing in exchange for doing your chores, that is slavery. So that's the craziest shit. Like, listen, I give you some PR. I'll give you some PR. There is an upside to illegal aliens coming into our country. We can enslave them guys. We give them room and board, and they do all our shit. Isn't that awesome? That's awesome. So this is literally the pro-migrant propaganda is just slavery. This is amazing. They literally have house slaves, and they're like, this is incredible. How did no one think of this before? This is the craziest shit in the universe. Now, I'm sure you're probably thinking, Nux, you're probably over-exaggerating. Because you know me, I like to play both sides. I do my best to cover every conversation from both sides. I always show you the opposing arguments. So I am going to show you the opposing argument for getting voter ID. Now, you probably think 85% of the people agree that we should have voter ID so that we don't steal elections forever. And I personally am on that side too. But I am going to show you the other perspective. Because it's super important that you know that I try to be as objective as possible. And objectively, I think that the leftists are a terrorist organization that are trying to steal our country, and they hate God, and they do child sacrifice on the down low. So now it's time to look at the opposing viewpoint.
An opinion on voter ID laws?
Yeah, they're usually pretty racist and they're bad. I think voter ID
laws are racist, says Karen.
laws are a way to perpetuate racism.
Voter ID laws are racist, says the other Karen.
Would you go as far as say those laws are racist?
For sure.
Do you think it suppresses the African American vote?
Definitely.
Yeah, how is it racist? Please explain.
They're less likely to have state IDs.
Black people, they just can't have IDs. They're just too dumb or something? I don't know. I wouldn't think so, but that's apparently what these guys are saying.
Minority voters are less likely to have the kinds of IDs.
They have different kinds of IDs. Black IDs, those are like, they're different.
Described or required.
These type of people don't live in...
These type of people.
Areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they can get identification.
Oh, black people just can't get identification because they don't live near DMVs.
Always get IDs you do over the internet. Does that also make it...
Oh, but you could get them over the internet, okay.
For black people in particular?
Yeah, you have to have access to the internet. You have
black people, they're too dumb to use the internet, says the leftists. The guys calling ICE agents house N-words think that black people are too dumb to use the internet. This is the craziest shit ever.
Be able to pay an internet service provider for certain fees.
Do you think that's harder for black people to go online?
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how...
They don't have the knowledge! Most progressive leftists, they just don't have the knowledge.
How it works. A lot of people have smartphones, but you might not have data. For most of the
Black people don't have smartphones.
Communities, they don't really know what is out there just because they're not aware or they're not informed.
Black people, they just don't know. They don't know how the country works. I am watching white liberal women in a college talking about how black people are too dumb to go online and get ID. What is happening? This is the craziest shit ever.
I also think there's a repression of black voting with how if you're a convicted felon, you're not allowed to vote and everything. And when you
we're suppressing black people because felons can't vote. Are you just... We have white women in college just be like, black people, they're just all murderers and killers and stuff. So, they're felons. That's racist. It's racist.
You look at swing states like Florida, that's a huge population of the African Americans.
So it's suppressing black votes because felons can't vote. Okay. So she's saying black people are stupid and criminals. That's the leftist position.
Now I'm here in East Harlem to ask black people their thoughts on what you just heard. Do you have ID normally? Do you carry ID around?
Yes, I have state ID.
Do you carry ID?
Yes, I do.
Do you know any black person who doesn't carry ID?
No. Everyone that I know has an ID. Why would they think they don't have ID?
That's a lie. Why would they say that?
Why would they say that I don't have ID? Great question.
You have ID?
Yes.
Because I have my ID and my friends have their ID, so we know what we need to carry around.
Everybody that I know have ID.
Everybody have ID. What are you talking about?
That's one of the things you need to walk around with New York with, ID.
Do you know any black adult who does not have ID?
No, I don't.
Is it a weird thing to even say that?
Yes, it is.
What is this, some type of trick candy cameras?
They're showing their IDs.
I know, right? That's the only thing I brought with me.
Those are legit IDs. I heard a lot also that black people can't figure out how to get to the DMV.
Really?
What does that say to you?
I know it's that. It's on 25th Street.
Do you know where the
It's right over there. What are you talking about?
ID, the DMV is right here?
It's on 125th Street and 3rd Avenue, I believe.
You know how to get there?
Yeah.
Would you have a problem getting there if you had to get there?
No.
I know these sound like silly questions. You know how to get to the DMV?
Of course.
You know where it is?
Yes.
You can get there?
Uh-huh.
No problem.
No problem.
Just checking.
Okay.
And I also heard a lot that black people, especially poor black people, have no access to the internet, can't figure out how to use the internet.
That's just stupidity, honestly. Everybody has access to the internet. Even a little kid can figure out how to work the internet.
I had access to the internet for years.
You know how to use it properly, right?
Exactly. I do it at work. So of course I know how to use it. My kids know how to use it. They all have iPads, iPods, whatever.
Your phone has data? You can actually
Unlimited.
Unlimited data.
Unlimited, wow.
It's a hotspot.
What does that say
These guys
to
are awesome.
people who have this perception of black people?
They're pretty much ignorant. That's what my thought process was.
I just think that's ignorant.
No one as ignorant as a white liberal college girl.
Ignorant.
Ignorant. That's the word I'm
Very,
hearing
very
a lot. Ignorant.
Very, very ignorant.
Does it sound racist for somebody to say that?
I think it is a little racist.
Yeah, I would say so
you're
too.
Putting people in a category and you have
True,
no idea
I
what
agree.
you're talking about.
Good point.
Maybe a little bit of racist in it, but like I said, I think it's more stupidity and ignorance.
Judging somebody, like, what, you judging them because they black, saying that they don't got it?
People are
Wait, are they judging people for being black? Doesn't it? That's pretty racist.
Talking to.
These are the people online, by the way, calling you a racist. All right, just to be clear.
Who are these people talking to?
Do you have a problem that if you go to vote and they say, "Can we please see your ID to make sure you are who you say you are"? Are you
Love
cool?
showing my ID.
You got no problem with that?
Nope.
Would you have a problem if when you go to vote, if they say, "Can we please just see your ID to make sure you are who you say you are"? Do you have an issue with that?
No.
Would you have a problem?
No, that's retarded. That's crazy.
If there was a rule where you had to show your ID in order to vote?
No
I don't think
issues
so.
here. You know.
Would you have an issue if there was a rule saying you got to show your ID before you vote?
Nah.
Are you cool with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so essentially, this is why I wanted to show you the other perspective. Like, I was afraid that you would only watch my perspective.
Perpetuate racism.
Would you go as far as say those laws are racist?
For sure.
For sure, showing your ID is racist. Yeah, so I felt like this was super important because this is the question. This is the question. Is it actually racist? Bro, liberals doing the meme. I'm not oppressed. Shh. Yes, you are. You just aren't aware, and you need me to white-splain your oppression for you. You are feeble and lower than me, and need me to be your savior. You cannot get by without me. Thank you, liberal white women. You truly are unbelievable. Now, once we're on the topic of immigration, voter ID, stealing the government, stuff like that, there's something else that's part of this illegal immigration situation that's super important, and that a lot of people are not talking about. This isn't even in the news. Until now. Breaking. ICE has halted all movement at a Texas facility due to measles infections. DHS confirms. All right, so there's measles in ICE facilities. So the leftists immediately are losing their mind, being like, oh my God, it's a concentration camp. I can't believe it. It's a concentration. They have measles. They have measles. Bro, they don't just have measles. You absolute fool. You absolute buffoon. I will explain to you what's going on. With a straight face, the people who let 20 million third world migrants into your country blamed a measles spike on RFK Jr. To understand, measles was eradicated in the United States for decades. Quite literally, for decades, there was no measles in the United States of America. What's measles? It's a disease. It's a disease that's been cured by vaccine. All right? There was no measles in the United States for decades until now, when there is a measles spike. And people are saying it's RFK Jr. convincing people not to get vaccinated. My guy, we let in 20 million people from the third world with no vaccines forever, that they still have measles issues in their areas. We literally brought a dead disease back to America with illegal immigration. Wow, dude. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. So, see, the thing is, I knew about this for personal reasons, for separate, whatever, not really my business. But I know people that have kids that are scared to take their kids outside, okay? Because measles is back. and they're waiting for their kid to be like 6 months or a year old until it's, you know, to get their measles vaccine or whatever. It's because measles is fatal for kids, by the way. So kids didn't need to have that issue because normally measles is gone, so you give them the vaccine at a year old or whatever. But now it's back. It's back. They literally brought this shit back, bro. They brought it back. Oh my God. And they're blaming the anti-vaxxers. My guy, it's not the anti-vaxxers in America. It's the anti-vaxxers from the third world where they never heard of vaccine. We are bringing back the bubonic plague in real time. So JD Vance absolutely cooked on illegal immigration.
More of, and yeah, if we see more of it, I think the chaos will come down. We'll continue to enforce our immigration laws. There will be less violence on America's streets, which is ultimately the goal here, to keep people safe. And I find it interesting that the people who are constantly attacking our immigration policy completely ignore that murders went down 20% in the United States of America in 2025. Do we think possibly there's a connection between the fact that we got a lot of violent criminals out of the United States of America with the fact that there are many fewer Americans getting killed? There's absolutely a connection, which is why we're not giving up on immigration enforcement. More of, and yeah, if we see more of it, I think the chaos will come down. We'll continue to enforce our immigration laws.
So weird, right? 20% decrease in crime. So interesting. Isn't that weird how that happened? I think it's weird that that happened. Now, you probably don't think it's weird that I do. I think it's weird, personally, that we had a 20% decrease in shit. Personally, I think that's weird. You might think that's not. I do. I personally do think it's weird. That we had a 20% decrease in crime once we started cracking down on violent crime. That's pretty insane. Now, John Kennedy, we had everyone. Everyone is showing up right now to yell and scream about this because, quite literally, it's one of the most obvious frauds ever, stealing elections.
Unless you have a history of disappointing your parents, you know that illegal immigration is illegal. And the Democrats are always telling us, you know, nobody is above the law. Well, how come people who are in our country illegally are above the law?
Good question.
I support enforcing our immigration laws. Now, how you do it matters. It has to be done in accordance with due process and equal protection. The other point,
I think we need trebuchets to launch them out on parachutes. All right? I think that needs to happen immediately.
People just need to understand they have the right to protest, but they don't have the right to protest violently.
Duh.
Violence undermines the morality that they say their movement is built on.
True.
Dr. King understood that. Mandela understood that. Interfering with the police, protesting violently is also deep dish stupid, unless you have a history.
Deep dish stupid to be violent with the police. True. And the funny thing is, Mandela and the other, like, these guys were shitty people. And despite the fact that they were shitty people, they knew you couldn't be violently protesting. So even this guy, all right, Fine, all right, this guy, Randy Fine, all right. So this dude, they call him the Hebrew Hammer in Congress. He, God bless him, is not a woke Jew. He is the other kind of Jew. Now, there are two kinds of Jews, all right? There's two kinds of Jews. There's the woke Jews. There are some of the worst people out there, and then there are the conservative Jews. They're some of the best people out there. All right, so I don't know a lot about him, but he decided to wear a MAGA kippah and go crazy.
I would just point out we don't run the show. I wish we did. And perhaps the gentleman from Massachusetts wants to work with me to encourage the Senate to get rid of the filibuster. Because we have to tell the truth in this process. And if we could pass this budget with 51 votes, and we didn't, then that point would be valid and that criticism would be just. But we don't have 60 votes in the Senate. We are reliant on Democrats to join us in order to get it over the finish line. Now, a deal was cut, apparently, where we made a deal that we said we'll pass all of these bills as one package, and Republicans voted for things they didn't like because allegedly Democrats in the Senate would go along at the end. But as sometimes happens, people don't keep their word. And so that package that was negotiated, that was agreed upon, that was a compromise between all parties, failed to pass. But what we must agree upon, what we must stay, and what is absolutely true, is that we don't control the show in the Senate.
Yeah, so that's the first thing he said. And he only went harder from there because this is crazy. This is part of the same speech, and this is wild.
A lot about the 2 Americans who were killed. And it is unfortunate that that happened. But what I would note is if they had been staying away from law enforcement while law enforcement was doing their job, which is to round up and send home people who are in our country illegally, who have been told to leave and refuse to do so, nothing would have happened to them.
That's right.
But you know who they don't talk about? The estimated 500 Americans that are killed each year.
That's right.
By an illegal immigrant.
True.
Why do we not...
That's a lot more than Epstein's victims, by the way, for those of you keeping track.
...know their names?
He's right.
What about their families?
He's right.
Those are a lot.
Bro has been cooking. It's crazy. This, by the way, I don't know. I mean, this dude's pretty fat, so I don't know how he gets around, but this was also him yesterday.
I'm coming. Well, thank you all for being here. Next Monday morning, excuse me, next Monday morning, instead of getting on my normal flight to fly to Washington, I'll go to a courthouse in Florida, where I'll be deposed in a criminal case against a man who sent death threats to me and my family. Said, I know where you live. I'm coming to kill you. I'm going to kill your children in front of you.
That's not very nice.
Why did he send me these death threats? By the way, he's the third such person to do so. He sent me these threats while he was overseas and he was arrested by customs on his way into the United States. Why did he send these threats? Because I made a simple statement. If you hear someone yell, praise Jesus, you typically will smile. If you hear someone say, Baruch Hashem, which I may do, you may not know what it means, but you're not going to be afraid. But if someone in this room yelled Allahu Akbar right now, we'd all be looking for a place to hide.
Oh my God, bro! Yo, this guy's diabolical.
Now, this gentleman's excuse, his defense, will be, in my faith, I have the right to go after the infidel. Now, for those of you who think that's crazy, we've seen this before. In Texas, some Muslim children vandalized a church. They sprayed messages on a church. And the civil rights group that supposedly represents mainstream Muslims in Texas says they have the right to do that under the First Amendment because they were practicing their religion. If I could say one thing to my colleagues, we need to not be afraid. We have to stop the term of radical Islam, Islamist. It is mainstream Islam. We have gotten this wrong.
God,
the radicals are the ones who don't want to kill us.
Oh my God, bro! Yo! This guy's wild. This dude's diabolical.
It is the mainstream that does. And if anyone is concerned about this, look at what I now call the United Islamic Kingdom and Francistan. In France, they had to
This guy's in Congress. This is wild.
Cancel New Year's Eve celebrations because they were worried about attacks. In the United Islamic Kingdom, they're now debating in Parliament whether cousin marriage should be legal. There are 57 countries in the world that you can live if you want to live under Sharia. Working with my colleagues, we're going to make sure this one is not number 58.
Damn, bro! This dude's not afraid. He's not afraid of being called Islamophobic. He cooks. What can I say? All right, so someone's been sending me more clips of this guy literally while I've been live. So I don't even know what this is. I didn't know it was this based. What the fuck?
Well, I'm not comfortable with a hierarchy of races, and the president isn't either. But not all cultures are equal, and not all countries.
He's right. Based.
Are equal. There are some people who come to this country to add value, and there are some that come to this country to take value. And when we've seen in Minneapolis that 50% of the people who were naturalized engaged in immigration fraud, and we're seeing the largest fraud in terms of welfare programs, perhaps in the history of our country, we know there's a problem. And the president speaks in language that Americans understand. He is blunt. He's not a politician. Neither am I. And so I support as he is making people understand the threats that we're under right now.
My God, this dude's diabolical. All right, stop sending me clips of this guy. I didn't know there were this many clips of this guy. I'm not gonna lie, I really didn't know there were this many clips of him. Holy shit. Okay, fine. Last one.
America, share our values. I think we need to shut down immigration, which is something that I've talked about. Yeah. And then we've got to be looking at everybody that's here. These people that do not share our views, if you want to come to America, you should love America, share our values, want to assimilate. Because immigration without assimilation is invasion. Right. And
that is true. True. What?
We have too many people who come here who hate our values, who don't want to assimilate, and then they want free stuff.
They want
We
to
need
change
end
the
that.
American culture once they get here.
And we've seen that with the election results here in New York. The guy who won because of people who just got here, not because of people who...
All right, that was it. No more. We got the idea. Anyway, so the House Rules Committee. All right, the official Twitter for the House Rules Committee. We have activated Randy Fine and activated him strongly. Bro, I don't know, bro. This guy's like a Yu-Gi-Oh card. They just flipped this guy, if they physically could. Now, anyway, meanwhile, everyone is doing their absolute best to push this shit. Nux face reveal? No, that was not me, guys. That was not me. The Jews that wear the tiny hats are infinitely more based than the Jews that don't wear the tiny hats. I'm just saying, statistically, that's just a fact. Look, I'm not trying to be rude here, all right? But I'm just saying. Anyway, Minecraft decided that, we have to fight back against all this fascism, all right? Want to change the world IRL? Start in Minecraft. In the free Good Trouble DLC, explore global civil rights movements. All right, sometimes on the tiny hat. I'm thinking of a whole group of tiny hat people that quite Moving on. All right, chill out, guys. In the free Good Trouble DLC, explore global civil rights movements. Meet changemakers, learn how to stand up, speak out, and build a better world. Minecraft is literally doing a Walk with Civil Rights Leaders DLC. Which is very exciting because someone already modded the George Floyd killing into this DLC, which is diabolical, honestly. That's definitely something that I didn't expect. But they, Walk with Civil Rights Leaders DLC. But the kids are going to be fine, right? Minecraft is trying to manipulate us, but the kids will be fine. As you can see, there are simulated ice raids in Roblox. Right, not even exaggerating. This is a real thing that's happening. The kids are going to be fine. And there goes Jorge. They brought Jorge out of the house. The kids are going to be... Oh, my God, look at this one fucking guy. The kids are going to be all right, guys. The kids are going to be all right. The kids are going to be all right. Don't worry, guys. The kids are going to be fine. So, I just wanted to make sure. So, Don Lemon, as we all know, he was arrested, and he's really mad. He's trying to fight back against enforcement.
Walking up to the room, and I press the elevator button, and all of a sudden, I feel myself being jostled, and people trying to grab me and put me in handcuffs, and I said, "What are you doing here?" And they said, "We came to arrest you." And I said, "Well, who are you?" And then finally they identified themselves, and I said, "If you are who you are, then where's the warrant?" And they didn't have a warrant, so they had to wait for someone from outside, an FBI guy, to come in to show me a warrant.
And there was a warrant, actually.
On a cell phone, and by that time Why
is he walking free? He's out on bail. He has a trial date.
I was trying to, figure out what was going on to get my bearings, and they dropped all my stuff. My glasses had fallen on the floor. I'm like, I can't read that. So they had to pick my glasses up, and I read it, and
he
still,
couldn't
what does
read
that
without his
mean?
glasses.
So... and then
Jinkies. So anyway, bro's having a gigantic, tragic meltdown that he was arrested. Good. They want to strike fear, intimidate you, and embarrass you.
There was a bunch of guys, and they took me outside. FBI guys were out there. I mean, it had to be maybe a dozen people, which is a waste, Jimmy, of resources, because I had told them weeks before. And maybe
it's a waste of resources. You have an entire movement obstructing justice across our country, stopping ICE agents from doing their duty, and he's worried about resources? No. This was a very proper use of resources. They arrested a criminal. You're a Klan member now. You might be gay and black, but you are a Klan member.
That we would, I think my attorney tried to contact them once, maybe twice, that I could just go in, and it would have to be the folks who were just working there that day, and they wouldn't have to have all these people.
No, it's more fun that they perp walked you, actually. I'm really happy my tax dollars paid for your arrest.
Me around.
It's more than just a waste of resources. So they grab you and they take you where?
Well, you're right about more than just a waste of resources. They want that. They want to embarrass you.
Based. I want them to embarrass you, too.
Want to intimidate you. They
want based. I want them to intimidate you as well. Good.
To instill fear. And so
fuck yeah, dude. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah, dude. Unbelievable. He's like, I'm gay and I'm black, so my crimes don't count. Yep, we know. So anyway, he obviously had a really bad time. It wasn't going well for him. And, the left is trying to make believe that Pam Bondi is going to prosecute people for interrupting a church service, right? So this is a community devastated after ICE raids an LA church and arrests the congregant. Based? That guy was a criminal. Hell yeah, dude. What are we talking about? This isn't freedom of speech. This isn't stopping people's freedom of speech. We got a criminal out of there. You don't know what he's doing. You don't know who he is. Get him out. This, by the way, is Pakistan. They want this to be our country. Just in case you weren't radicalized. Just in case you weren't radicalized enough. I just felt like I needed to say. Now, 2 Republicans are voting nay, stalling the bill to fund the government, and one of them is Thomas Massie. So Thomas Massie does a lot of things that I think are pretty good. Thomas Massie, I think, is a guy with a bruised ego and currently votes against Trump every single step of the way. And he's been losing his mind about this.
When will you change your party affiliation to Democrat?
I thought you knew. I vote with Republicans 91% of the time. And the 9% I don't, they're taking up for pedophiles, starting another war, or bankrupting our country.
Yeah! So then, they released like this, the way I don't vote for Republicans is when we start wars and when we protect pedophiles. Yeah, no new war started under Trump, only targeted strikes, no evidence of Trump being a pedophile. Massie voted to continue the government spending multiple times under Biden, but not under Trump. Not gonna lie, makes it pretty obvious what the allegiance is. Makes it pretty obvious this keeps happening. And yes, there is evidence. The voting machines are rigged. I just wanted to wrap up because I feel like this is all part of one giant story. All right? One giant story. They bring in illegal aliens. They prevent us from deporting illegal aliens, despite the fact that's what Donald Trump was elected for. And they rig elections. They let them vote. They don't make them show ID. And then they also rig the voting machines, too.
And then, of course, President Trump wants same-day voting, mail ballots, get rid of these voting machines. There's a half a dozen people, whether it's the House or Senate, Larry, that are up here as we speak, that did not get elected. It was all bogus.
Half a dozen people that are here didn't get elected. Wow.
Because we've seen the evidence, and if we don't straighten that out, you're going to see a lot more of it this fall, and it's just going to get worse and worse with the American people saying, listen, we got all y'all up there and you don't do anything to straighten it out. We want closed borders and we want fair elections. Those two things they are demanding. And as Republicans, we had better to listen to them and do that, or we're going to lose next fall.
Yep, because if they steal the election, it's over. And he's straight up saying that half the people here as in there, stole elections. So this was Donald Trump going on Dan Bongino's podcast after Dan Bongino left the FBI.
These people were brought to our country to vote, and they vote illegally. And amazing that the Republicans aren't tougher on it. The Republicans should say, we want to take over. We should take over the voting in at least 15 places. The Republicans ought to nationalize the voting. And we have states that are so crooked, and they're counting votes. We have states that I won that show I didn't win. Now you're going to see something in Georgia, where they were able to get, with a court order, the ballots. You're going to see some interesting things come out. But, like the 2020 election, I won that election by so much. Everybody does it.
Yep. And quite literally, we are seeing this happen. I'm not a GOP loyalist. If these don't get in line, they have to go. So my stance is very difficult. It's the left is pushing every anti-God policy on the planet, and the right's just not as bad. That's kind of my stance at this point, and it's really sad. What we really need to do, and I know this is going to be a boring opinion, what we really need to do is we need to vote in a younger generation of radicals. That's quite literally what we need to do, because these old fucks are just kind of doing their thing. All right, Dan Bongino, Mr. Epstein killed himself. I don't know, bro. I don't know. The way I think this has to move is every single state, every single county, we have to do our best to elect people that are more aligned with us, bring in a younger generation that's actually willing to fight, and that isn't bought off by some elite pedophile, satanic grooming cult that's run our country for a long time. As sad as that sounds, that's what we need to do. So while I get the perspective, and I see a lot of people saying stuff like this, like, well, I'm not a GOP loyalist, they're not doing enough, I'm not going to vote for them. If the left would have won, we wouldn't have a country. If the left would have won, the border would be open. We'd have another 50 million illegals here. They would all be voting. We would lose our country. We would become England. All right, and England is lost. All right. I wasn't even going to include this in the video, but I have a really, really horrifying thing to show you. This might change your perspective on things. I don't know. Did you know that 75% of England's mayors are Muslim? 75% of England, these are all mayors in England, all right? So, while I do agree with you that the GOP is not doing enough, and I'm really frustrated that they're not actually voting shit in and making new laws, we don't live here yet. that's kind of where we're at. So anyway, I'm trying my best. You know, so quite literally, it's a pretty rough spot. Thanks for being here. Appreciate all of you. See you in the next one. This was insane. This was wild. This is, in my opinion, the most obvious example of the left trying to steal elections by the fact that we're trying to literally institute a law where you need ID to vote. It's the most obvious, logical thing in the universe. We need ID to vote. And they're like, no. 85% of the people are like, yeah, obviously. And then they're like, no. We don't need to push it. We don't. It's not important. We don't need it. We don't need. Why would we do this? Why? We're doing such a hard job importing all these people to steal elections. And you're trying to ruin the entire charade by making them show ID. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys. See you in the next one. Subscribe. Bye. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.